Being vulnerable or vulnerability, being in that state requires trust, patience, love, all of those things. And I'm not even talking about being vulnerable with someone else. I'm talking about being vulnerable with yourself. It takes just those things just to be vulnerable with yourself. Then we could talk about being vulnerable with someone else. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here with me today. Welcome to the new subscribers. Oh my God, I'm so grateful that you guys are here with me today. Thank you for joining the capital LOVE tribe. The capital love tribe. Thank you all so much. I'm so grateful. Thank you for being here. This is the Divine Healing with Love channel. I am Nicole. Thank you so much again for being here. Welcome to the new subscribers. So let's get right into it, because if you don't know, I say click it and get it, 15 minutes or less. Really, I try to keep you 10 minutes, 11 minutes. Really, that's the tops is 15. So let's go. Let's talk about being vulnerable. Being vulnerable, first of all, I'm so happy that vulnerable and vulnerability is like a buzzword now. It's a popular word that we're hearing. It's great people are talking about it. It's great people want it. It's great people are like, I want vulnerability. I want transparency. All those things are great. However, as I always say in my videos, always, you already know, if you can't do this with yourself first, don't expect someone to do it for you. Don't expect other people to be vulnerable with you if you don't know how to be vulnerable with yourself. I always say this. If you don't know how to love yourself, don't expect someone to love you the way you feel you should be loved. That's how it goes. It's the same thing with being vulnerable. So I can recall, because I always give my own experiences, because these videos are my wisdom, what I channel, my experiences. So this is just all in the world of Nicole and Divine Healing. That's really what this is. So in past experiences that I've had, I wanted another person to be vulnerable with me. I felt that, in order to really have a equal give and take relationship, and this is not just romantic relationships. I think that people always think when they hear these type of words, vulnerability, this always applies to romance. It doesn't. It applies to any relationship. I feel vulnerability is important for any relationship you have, whether it's with a parent, a friend, another family member, it doesn't matter. So I would want people to be vulnerable with me because I felt that I was being vulnerable. But, when I would try to, maybe ask questions or get this information out of them, there would be a guard up or they wanted to wear a mask. So I had to look at myself and say, hey, you want this, but this person is not trying to give this to you. Where's the disconnect? What's happening? And then I had to ask myself, well, how are you really being honest and vulnerable with them? You want so much from them, but really, are you being honest and vulnerable? And once I was able to really pull the layers back and really look at myself, I was like, wow, no, I'm not really giving that honesty. I'm not really being fully transparent about myself and my journey, what I want from them. I'm really not doing that. I'm really not even doing it with myself. I'm really wearing a mask and not recognizing that these are the things that I want from someone else, but I'm unable to really look at myself and really have these conversations with myself, because there were situations where something traumatic would happen in my life and I felt like I wanted to open up. I was always this closed off person, wanted to just keep everything bottled in, didn't really want to tell people things, didn't really want to let anyone in. So when I did want to open up, because even if you're this locked case where you keep everything in, you just keep taking it in, at some point you feel like you're going to explode and you need to unload. And that was me. I was always taking it all in and not really unloading in the proper way. So when I felt like I needed to unload, now I want to unload. I want to open up. But when I do open up, if I feel comfortable to do so. Because in order to be vulnerable, you must trust and feel safe and feel secure. So if I felt comfortable to do so, I wouldn't get the type of comfort that I felt that I needed. And I realized, because I was still wearing a mask and not really being truthful and vulnerable with myself. So I had to really talk to myself. I'm just gonna be honest. I would talk to myself and I would say, what exactly are you looking for in this from someone else? Like, what exactly do you need? And then I realized that I needed to feel safe. I needed to feel secure. I needed to feel like I trusted the person to hold space for me, to hold whatever I was going to tell them, to hold that space for me and give me that love and comfort that I was desiring. And then I felt like I needed, again, that safety and security and that love, that comfort. That's what I really wanted and needed. So in order for me to really find that, to really close the gap, close this disconnection, I had to do it with myself. I had to do it with myself. I had to be honest with myself. So when I like to be vulnerable with myself, I have to make myself feel safe, secure, and comfortable. Now, I know you're probably thinking, Nicole, I mean, you should feel comfortable with yourself all the time. But again, levels. You don't always feel comfortable with yourself. Sometimes this feels uncomfortable to even acknowledge a fear with yourself. Like, even say out loud, this is something that I fear. This is something I'm scared of. You know what I mean? Like, let's just say you're scared of intimacy. That's like, even saying it out loud, I'm afraid of being intimate with someone. I'm not talking about sex. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about vulnerable and intimacy is almost the same thing. It's very similar. So when I like to be vulnerable with myself, this is what I like to do. I like to go on my bed because, in my opinion, I always feel safe and comfortable in my bed. That's a place, that's a happy space for me. It always feels good. Doesn't matter what's going on. I get in my bed, I get very comfortable. I put my covers all, like, I'm just completely engulfed in my bed. The comforter is over my head. The sheets are all over me. I'm just completely tucked up under my comforter. And that makes me feel very safe, very comfortable. Like, nothing can hurt me. Nothing can harm me. I just feel so safe and good and loved. That makes me feel love. Like, when I feel warmth like that, I feel love. Now, this is just for me. So, like I said, I do that. I may put some music on. I don't know, just whatever, depends. But the bed thing has to happen. And then I hold myself. I literally hold myself like this. And I'm under my comforter in my happy space. And I cry. Or, I give myself a pep talk or whatever. That's what I do when I'm vulnerable with myself. So after I started doing that, I started noticing that in my relationships now, it's easier for me to be vulnerable with them. I'm going to use, for example, my girl Tipsy Tip, my spiritual bestie. No, she doesn't mind if I use her. I love you. Shout out to Tipsy Tip. So since I've been able to be vulnerable with myself, when I talk to Tipsy Tip, because I'm vulnerable with her a lot, we're both vulnerable with each other a lot. When I talk to her, it doesn't feel so foreign or just like uncomfortable for me to express myself in a vulnerable way with her because I've been vulnerable with myself. So yeah, at one point I did have a fear of intimacy. I mean, I said that as an example, but that was a real life fear. That was a real life fear for me. Yes, intimacy was being intimate with someone else was a fear. So I expressed that to her. We were just having a conversation. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I realized had a fear of intimacy. I had a fear of being intimate. Again, I'm not talking about sex, but I had a fear of being intimate with someone else on that type of level. And again, because I was able to be honest with myself and safely express that with myself in a safe place in my bed, holding myself, I cried about it too, just to be, I keep it real with y'all. So once I was able to do that, it was no big deal to even tell her that. And we had already built this bond where it's a safe place. It's a safe place for us to share our thoughts and feelings with each other. We don't judge each other, because that's another thing. When you're vulnerable with yourself first, you can't judge yourself. We have many different layers to our personality. We have our higher self, we have our inner child, and then we have all this other stuff going on. So there's a judgmental side in Nicole. There's a judgmental side, and it's a side that would certainly say in the past, before I was able to be vulnerable with myself, that would certainly say in the past, what are you crying about? What are you, like, that's stupid, like that negative self-talk. That side of Nicole is still there, but it's being broken down because I'm able to be honest with myself, and I'm able to be open with myself, and I can be vulnerable. So now, again, that I'm able to do this with myself, now when I am vulnerable with someone, it's not so scary. It's not so heavy. It's just like me talking. But again, because I have someone that I know I trust, because again, vulnerability, that takes trust, that takes patience, that takes honesty, that takes, again, having that safe space with no judgment, no negativity, no negative self-talk, where you can express those fears, you can express your thoughts, and you can feel safe. And she was able to give me the type of love and support and encouragement that I needed to move forward. That was great, but I gave it to myself first. I encouraged myself first. When I was honest with myself under the comforter in my bed, holding myself, like, yeah, you are afraid of intimacy. Yes, you are afraid to, share your thoughts and your fears with someone else. That is scary, but it's okay. It's okay. And the right person will come along where you could do those things, and it'll be great, and you will be loved and supported with whoever, because you're loving and supporting yourself, and you're being vulnerable with yourself first. So comment below. Let me know. Are you vulnerable with yourself? What is your safe place? Where can you, it may be in the shower. It may be driving. I'm going to make more videos on this because, I like to give multiple examples, and these topics we could talk about for days. But again, our time is running up. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. So I love you so much. If no one has told you that today, I will see you in the next video. Please like the video, share the love, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.